Hello, it's King Sam here and welcome back to my channel. Now, if you haven't watched the first part of this video, then I highly advise you to go and watch it, as in this part, I'll be recapping episodes 4, 5 and 6 of my series, A Team of Utra Bolts. And just so you know, I'm recapping the series ahead of the release of episodes 7 and 8. So let's get started, from where we left off, episode 4, Coming to the End. It's named Coming to the End because it was originally intended to be the final episode, but as you can see, that did not happen and I regret not changing it. The episode starts with the anonymous girl heading into the court to rescue Utra Bolts. She first rescues Jake and Alice and calls them by name. And Jake and Alice, thinking as if they have no choice, allow the strangers to rescue them from their scrape. She draws them into a portal and goes on to the rest of them. And Isabel, who has the ability to fly, cannot fly because of the pressure of the wind. Jessie confronts them and tells them that they have nothing to fear and she's here to rescue them. And she's going to do it from a high distance. So she heads back out of the court, where the mountain defenders are fighting against the villains for their lives, and she teleports all of them away. Zoe wants to know where the mountain defenders have gone and asks Cass, even though she has no idea, and she gets annoyed with him asking him, but decides to brush it off as they've already done what it was to do, which is create the ultimate monster. Right till the ultimate monster notices something in the sky, and this reveals off so they can see, and they see a giant rainbow platform with all the heroes on it, along with the stranger, and on the platform, the heroes stare at the strange girl who rescued them, who just looks beyond the horizon. Alice tries to confront the African girl, but she's quite sensitive and scolds over trying to touch her. The Utra Bolts ask her how does she know where they were and who is she, and her only reply is that she likes to keep her knowledge personal and not share with anyone, and she knows a lot of things about them. But she tells them her name, which is Jessie, and the heroes, being dumb to trust her that easily and that instantly, tell her everything that's going on and beg for her help. So Jessie tells them about a companion that she knows by the name of Aaron, who might have something that's beneficial to destroying the ultimate monster. Except she hasn't seen him in days and months, and she came for the heroes' help to find them. But she allows them to tend to their past wounds before they do search her. Meanwhile, the villains are dismayed by the fact that the Utra Bolts survived the core, and start accusing each other of that matter. Until Zoe decides to send Zoe and some Zoe beasts to go after them. All the heroes take refuge in an abandoned construction building, where Thomas calls Alice to talk to her about something. To be honest, I completely forgot what he wanted to talk about, honestly. But it must be something random though, even though he wasn't happy about it. But then all of a sudden, the two start witnessing a vision of pink mist surrounding them and an empty void. Then it starts flashing to reality, and then back and forth again, until it flashes back to reality permanently again. Meanwhile, as the heroes attend to their injuries, Daniel questions them trusting Jessie that easily, to which the hero's only excuse that she's a smart and brave girl, though a bit scary at times, and they hope that she knows what she's doing, even though that's quite a dumb reason, honestly. They need a better reason than that. About an hour later, Alice calls in more of her guards to come and accompany them on this mission. They approach a construction building, just as Thomas says on the camera that is connected to TV broadcasts and billboard screens, and Alice gives reports to everyone watching from outside and inside about what's going on and what she plans to do with the city. And she has the rest of her guard fleet go outside and evacuate all of them. Just as they wrap the report, Zoe the Zoe Beast break into the building, and Jessie, showing her skills, easily attacks them and defeats them, which causes everyone to stay in awe. As Jessie, Alice, Thomas, and the guards come out of the room, the Zoe Beasts have already started attacking all the heroes who are oblivious as to how they got here. While Isabel doesn't care otherwise, as she's tired of protecting Jake all the time now that he's powerless, even though they all just started. Jessie decides to have everyone jump out of the building even though they were reluctant to do it, so she uses her staff to force them. And then she teleports them all away, just as Zoe Beasts fall down after chasing them to the ground, much to Zoe's dismay. Jessie teleports them to the last random places she was thinking of, which is a maze in the underground. This place called Maze Area. But yet, Jessie didn't want to search for Aaron here, thinking he would not be here anyway. Right up until Angelina and Daniel convince her to, so reluctantly she agrees. Meanwhile, Zoe passes news of the heroes escape to the villains, who start accusing each other again. Until the ultimate monster, now he has Jake's powers, which is connected to Jake's emblem, he's able to track Jake down and find out where he is, and he tells the viz that they're in Maze area, much to Cass's delight. But many minutes later, Thomas is already tired of searching through the maze, as it is a maze after all and it gets stressful, and rests his hand on a button, which opens a trap floor at the bottom of them, and you'll fall down into a giant funnel with so many different holes and paths. They all fall to a ledge, but Jake falls further down onto another ledge, and hears that they'll come after him. But the ledge that Jake was on works like an escalator and starts lowering down to mist, which no one wants to find out what it does. So the heroes rush immediately to go rescue Jake, in case the mist was bad. But Zoe ambushes them again. So the mountain defender starts to stay behind and fight off against her forces. As Jake gets close to the mist, as Thomas only wants to get there in time, and they reach to get Jake, but before they can grab him, the rest of the villains arrive and start blasting beams at them. They blast Alice and Thomas off the ledge, and they start falling. Then the vision starts flickering again, until they permanently land in the vision. In this strange vision, a beast encounters them and approaches them and starts talking to them about a virus known as the Helltrastonum, which basically works as a behemoth and a storm, which can spread by spreading mini versions of it known as the Hellstrip beasts, and it can swallow and trap people into it. Then Alice and Thomas are yet ambushed again by many more beasts that look just like the beasts they just encountered. One beast starts blasting beams at them, so Thomas immediately projects a shield to protect them. Then another stranger, who's witnessing the same vision, comes to Alice and Thomas and punches them so that the beast wouldn't attack him, thinking that he's evil as well. Meanwhile, Jesse manages to save Jake and lifts him and all the other heroes onto another surface on another ledge. That's when they find out that Alice and Thomas are no longer with them and realize they fall off the ledge, which spurs the Utra Bolts into panic. So Tia suggests that they could find Aaron and may find them at the same time, or ask Aaron to find them, even though I wouldn't say that was enough. But before they can continue the search, the Ultimate starts firing explosions at them, so they jump onto another ledge. But on that ledge though, it had the door leading to Aaron's home, much to Jesse's delight. But then they realized that Jake did not follow them onto the ledge, and he was still on the ledge with the other villains, demanding them to give him his powers back. To which Cassie says no and starts firing at him, so Jake starts dodging each laser. And this next scene did not make any sense to me, but I'll still talk about it anyway. Alice and Thomas wake up to find themselves tied up in a dark room, and a stranger who had punched them comes into the room to talk to them, even though he really didn't need to tie them up like that. Aww. I was just trying to be dramatic with that whole scene, even though it was unnecessary to make them tie up like that. The stranger tells them that he's not here to harm them, and he tells them that they will deal with the vision, and that he saved them. And he apologizes for giving them the punch as well. Alice asks if he's a knight, and he says only without a helmet, shield, and sword. Then he asks them if they know a girl by the name of Jessie at all, in case they might do. Then Alice and Thomas realize that the stranger is actually Aaron, the person they were looking for in the first place. But before they could address him as Aaron immediately knows what they're about to say and just replies yes. Even though that part kind of didn't make sense. Anyway, Alice and Thomas decide to proceed to tell Aaron everything that's going on. Meanwhile, Jake still tries to intervene and Isabel tries to stop him. But before she could do anything, Aaron comes to the rescue. He runs at ultimate speed around all the villains and starts immediately taking them back up to the surface of the earth. Then he confronts the heroes, and Jesse greets him and says they come for his assistance. So Aaron gives permission and they come to his home, which is his home temple for worship to the Lord. Aaron apologizes to Jesse for not communicating to her for a while, as he's been having some meetings with an agent that he knows well, and Thomas, who's drinking tea with Alice, is nosy to know who that agent is. After the Utra Bolts have a short reunion with Alice and Thomas, Aaron takes them to a sword that's embedded in a stone near a waterfall, which is known as a sword of power, created by the agent using technology, and a sword, of course. The purpose of a sword is to be used to destroy any kind of monster in any way, and to remove the destruction caused by a criminal action. Aaron allows them to use it, but on the condition that he comes with them to help them. The heroes approve his request, and the guards decide to go back out to the city to evacuate all the other people like the rest of the guards fleet are doing. Meanwhile, the villains, who had been transported back to the surface, still believe that they have a chance of destroying the heroes and winning, but Cactus doesn't think otherwise, as she notices the heroes had just come back to the surface. The heroes huddle up to make a quick plan quickly, which is to fight against all the criminals, while Alice and Thomas hit the sword to the ground to destroy the ultimate monster and to erase the destruction. and suggesting Aaron to protect the Queen if the villains attack, but Jake feels left out, but no one really thinks of him that much. So the heroes proceed to attack, and the villains try to do whatever it takes to stop them. Meanwhile, Jake is running for his life, but he doesn't want to run for his life anymore, and that's when he starts to become a bit selfish. Takes a sword and decides to use it on the Ultra Monster by throwing it at him, but the Ultra Monster easily sees it coming and blasts it away. But as it falls down, it suddenly starts glowing. And remember the pieces of the remedy that were broken in episode 3? Well, those pieces ascended up and into the sword, creating a massive storm monster, which is the Hellstra virus monster, the Hellstra Stonium. The heroes stare in shock and the villains stare with glee at the Hellstra Stonium as it starts spewing out Hellstra beasts from the tractor beam. Isaac Thomas recognizes from the vision and scolds Jake for his actions. But then, the stranger that picked up the pearl from episode 3 comes into scene and moves her cloak, revealing herself to be an ally of Jesse and Aaron's, the agent that Aaron was talking about, Secret Agent L. Elle greets the heroes, and she too scolds Jake for his actions, and has all the heroes held into a circle, and she used the Loon Tribe technologic code word to teleport all the heroes away with her. And that brings us to the next episode, episode 5, The Last Battle. And in case you're wondering, why is it called The Last Battle if it's not the last episode? You'll find out soon enough. The episode starts with the heroes teleporting to a odd facility on wheels obstructed in lunar woods. In that facility, Jesse and Aaron reunite with their old friend Elle, as the three of them used to be in a trio known as the Purpose Fulfilling Trio. And it's been 3 months since they last saw each other, but their reunion is cut short by Alice, who asks where they are. So Elle introduces them to the headquarters of Luna, her headquarters, which has many rooms. And she brought all the heroes here because she needs their help, and proceeds to tell them about what they just witnessed. And she even told them how Jake created the creature. Jesse even adds on to her explanation and tells them its object and person consumption, and its Hellstra beast spreading ability. Then everyone proceeds to scold Jake for his actions, while Jake just reluctantly apologizes. But Elle breaks the argument as she has something to show them, and she pulls out the pearl that she grabbed from episode 3. She explains that pearl is the source of the remedy, to which Theo recognizes as it's kind of familiar to it. The remedy source is even an artificial intelligence bot, with the ability to speak, and Elle gives permission for them to use it on the Hellstra Stonium to destroy it. But before the heroes could even rush to go and save the day, Elle explains the issue that they might have. By the way, this next scene is going to lead up to an entire subplot for the episode, but it's still connected though. Elle tells them that there's someone who's after the source. Then it cuts to a security guard leader heading into his facility, where an entire security crew are waiting for him. The security leader, named Max, starts giving orders to track down Elle's location, and Elizabeth obliges. Another guard, Lucas, asks Max why they're after the remedy source in the first place. So Max tells him that he's the original developer of the remedy source, and of the remedy itself, but he got accidentally sent to a different location during his creation. And he got word that the remedy is smashed, and the remedy source what remains of it. And Max doesn't trust anyone whatsoever, so he doesn't trust Elle to keep it safe, and assumes that she's a thief and a criminal. Elizabeth manages to find Elle, much to Max's delight. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't notice, the events of episodes 1 to 5 are set in the year 2020. Meanwhile, back in the castle area, the villains observe what they've just witnessed, and gloat over it too. And they decide to proceed with their plans of world domination, until Zodian gets an alert on his radar, where he finds out the hero's business, and everything about it, and about the source too, which is Zodian's most concern. So the Ultra Monster develops a plan that involves the security, and has all his forces come to track them down. Meanwhile, now knowing that the security are after Agent L for the remedy source, the heroes decide to help Elle keep it safe, so that they can use it to save the world. But Isabel, on the other hand, doubts their situation even more, so Angelina tells her that she just has to think positive about it. And Queen Alice's advisor, Maria, puts in a good word saying that words have power. But just as they're talking about positivity, they are cut short after seeing a station ascend above the headquarters. That station belongs to the security, if you're wondering. So Elle uses a Neuralink, don't know why I made her do that though, to make a headquarters start moving on its own, much to Alice's delight and shock. But a security member named James sees the headquarters moving and alerts Max, who instructs him to shoot it down with giant missiles. As the missiles are incoming, Aaron has Elle, Jesse, and all the other African heroes come to protect the headquarters with shields. The missiles are deflected back to the security, who easily dodge them. Max has the security put the station on autopilot, and the security break into Elle's headquarters from the roof while it's still moving. Michael asks the security, "What are you up to?" And Max takes it as a pun to cartoons, superior cartoons to be precise, and the security are immediately caught off guard for a bit, but they eventually snap back and make holograms of themselves to fight. So the heroes fight the hologram army, while Max confronts Elle, where they greet each other, and Max tries to negotiate a simple deal, where Elle hands over the source, and he will not detain her. Elle pretends to agree, and even hands the source to him, but before he could take it, she takes his arm and throws him to the floor, and Max knocks her to the floor, and the two wrestle. But they get up, and Elle withdraws her sword, and Max withdraws his lightsaber, which makes Elle assume that he's a Star Wars fan, then to engage in another fight. But since he doesn't have powers, Jake, in the middle of the fight, thinks he's vulnerable and helpless to everyone, and decides to think of a way he can help in some way. And in the fight, he sees a missile lying around, and decides to use it to destroy the station outside. But as soon as he throws it outside, it retracts and heads to Hell's headquarters, destroying its wheels and makes it stop moving. And Elle uses a time-freezing technology just to freeze security for a moment, giving enough time to escape. And she projects cars to do that. All the heroes jump into each of the three cars, and Thomas mistakenly runs into the driver's seat, much to his dismay, and immediately accusing someone of forcing him to drive. But he reluctantly does drive. Just as he leaves, the time freeze technology stops, and Max sees him get away, and immediately spurs into action. He has James and Elizabeth come with him on hoverboards, and Lucas and another member named Mia to chase after them in the station. So they oblige, and in the middle of the car chase, Alice says that it's been a day and she wants to know if they can have the music on, so Thomas delightfully does put it on. The music I chose from a game music that I know well is the mobile game named Roaring Sky, in case you were wondering. In the middle of the race, Aaron is filled with nostalgia, as this reminds me of his adventures with Elle and Jesse, and he wants to cherish them. And so, the security immediately start fighting back with laser guns and giant missiles, but the purpose-fleeing trio fights against them. Max even comes to Elle's side and tries to shoot at her, but she jumps off the car and starts running at the same pace as the cars do. Meanwhile, in their search for the security, Catalyst and Heldrestonium see what's going on, and Catalyst reports to the others. And meanwhile, Amelia is reluctantly forced to deflect all the missiles incoming to protect Elle. The two run back into their cars. Jake, on the other hand, sees the Heldrestonium outside and decides to destroy it and demand Catalyst to give him his powers back. He kicks the door open, causing Isabel to get a bit car sick, and tells Isabel that he knows what he's doing, grabs a missile and throws it at Heldrestonium, but easily sees it coming and uses telekinetic power to throw it on the road instead, where it explodes. Cars drive into the explosion, so the trio jump off, and then the car crash happens. Thomas shields everyone from incoming glass shards. The security grab Elle, and Archibald's car is completely obliterated. Once the accident collision is over, Alice's guards, having completed their mission and evacuated everyone, rush to their side immediately. Amelia thanks Professor Thomas for his help, and the heroes begin to scold Jake again. But Angelina breaks their argument as she realizes that Agent L is no longer with them, and the guards, having witnessed some of their business during the chase, immediately begins to understand who they're talking about and tells them where she is. Elle has been brought into the station for custody and judgment. The security begin to reason with her as to why she took the remedy source, to which she explains that as an artificial intelligence bot, it was reaching out to anyone who would take a call, and she took it. But before she can explain her reason for her taking it, Max cuts her off as he assumes she's lying, and security bring out their weapons to destroy Elle. Max gives her one last chance to hand it over, but before she could do anything, the villains teleport behind them all, and the security bring their weapons to them, and the villains explain that they want to make a little truce with the security. and team up with them to destroy the heroes as they want to destroy Agent L. To which the security denies the offer, as they don't have any business with the other heroes though. And L, having never seen the villains before, assumes that they are probably the heroes' enemies. Then the Remedy source tells her that one of her arms is loose, as she's clutching it in her hand. So Elle breaks free from the projected chains, and as she falls, Aaron catches her, as the heroes have caught up to them, by using a portal to break in. But Max notices that Elle got free. And Elle tries to reason with Max, but Max won't have it, and has all the security charged to destroy her and Aaron. So Jesse comes to their side, and we fight the security members, and easily overpower them. So Max claps his hands to make an explosive pulse that pushes Aaron and Jesse away. Elle tries again to reason with Max, but Max already assumes she's lying again, and the two draw their weapons out and engage in another fight, where Max plans to destroy Elle, with Utra Bolts and the villains as their witnesses, even though the villains shouldn't have been standing there. Don't know why I made him do that. As their souls clash, Elle tries one more time to reason with Max, and manages to explain her intention of taking the remedy. But the villains use the moment to summon the Heltrastonium, who breaks through a glass window. Aaron saves Elle and Max from the shards, and Jesse deflects the rest of them. But when he hits the Heltrastonium, it glitches and causes a little side effect to happen. The Hellstra Beasts turn on the villains and start beating them up heavily. But the villains assume that the Hellstra Beasts have gained a mind of their own, and the Heltrastonium attacks them, much to Angelina's annoyance. Meanwhile, the Heltrastonium attacks all the heroes, and spreads a tractor beam to gain Catherine, but Thomas catches her. Angelina, Oliver, and Isabel try to fight against the Hellstra Beasts, but they are easily defeated though. The Hellstra Beast causes a vibration, which causes Elle to tumble out of the broken window. But Jessie catches her, but her efforts are not enough, as she couldn't hold on to Elle much longer. And let's go. But then someone else catches Elle in time, and that someone is none other than security leader Max. He has the security help him pull, and they pull Elle back to the surface. All the heroes are shocked by what they just saw, as they thought Max was their enemy. And Max, having realized Elle's intentions of taking the source, apologizes for his bad actions, gives his consent to use the source, and even wants to lend his assistance in case Elle accepts, to which she does, and forgives him. And as for their first favor, the security help the heroes escape, much to the villains' dismay. The heroes are teleported to the now destroyed courtyard of Alice's castle, and Alice begins to doubt everything that's been going on, until Thomas began to tell her to have positivity. So, Elle begins to explain how they can destroy the Heltrastonium's power and growth, which is by heading inside it, and taking Aaron's sword that's inside it, fusing them, and then striking the Heltrastonium with it. So the heroes begin to start debating on who should do it. Some want to do it, while others don't want each other to do it, as it's quite risky and they don't know how it's going to end off exactly. But then Jake decides to do it, as he claims that he's responsible for everything that just happened. And since he created the creature, Jake knows that it wouldn't really attack him. But the Utra Bolts don't want Jake to do it, as he's powerless and vulnerable, and could easily get destroyed in any second. But Jake still stands firm. So, after Alice and Thomas decide to let Jake do it, Elle hands in the remedy, and he attacks the villains who have been watching them the whole time, eavesdropping on their plan. All the other heroes fight against the villains, giving Jake enough time to run inside the Heltrastonium, but Zodian sees him and chases after him. When Jake's inside, he notices that a bunch of civilians who were attacked by the Heltrastonium when it was first created and sucked into it are frozen. I'm never really sure what happened to them exactly, and I wish I had. Then Jake sees Zodian, who tries this old-fashioned trick and starts filling Jake's head with negative words again, and attacks him in the midst of that. But Jake easily sees it coming and punches him, and the two proceed to beat each other up. But Zodian kicks Jake and blasts a massive heavy beam at him, and summons Hellstra Beast to finish Jake off. But as Jake wakes up from unconsciousness, he remembers what Alice said to him back in episode 1, even though I was recording episode 2, and starts telling himself that he's not a fool or weakling or coward as he gets up, and says he's a hero named Jake, ready to put evil to stop and he can do this. And with all the faith he could, he managed to get some power that wasn't withdrawn from him, and use it to fight against Zodian, eventually overpowering him and using the same method he did to stop him. With Zodian unconscious, Jake takes his chance and fuses the remedy source with the sword and strikes Heltrastonium with it. And Heltrastonium explodes, just as Zodian falls out of it, and the Fiends cry no at what he just witnessed. The Heldrastonian breaks into many different particles, and one of the particles falls on the Ultimate Monster and destroys him, and Jake's powers come out. I never really sure what happened to Jake's powers, but in case you're wondering, they went back to Jake though. And meanwhile, the Helstra beasts all explode, and the Fiends are caught in the explosion, but they are not destroyed though. And Max gets his remedy source back, and Aaron gets his sword back. But the hero's celebration, on the other hand, is cut short, as Alice realizes that Jake is missing, but then they find him lying on the floor unconscious. The Archbolts rush to their friend immediately, hoping that he has not passed. And much to their delight, he has not. And after their quick reunion, the heroes leave to make appointments for the city to be rebuilt, which takes an amount of 5 months to do so, leading into the month and year April 2021. It cuts to Jake, sleeping in a bed in the palace, and is woken up by Isabel, who tells him to get up or he'll be late, for a little short conference meeting, where all the heroes, their parents, and civilians were attending. Alice gives the word that the destruction is over, and they're going to be having a celebration in a few hours. Meanwhile, the Archbolts hope that they will never have to face any of the villains ever again. Then Jake leaves to the balcony, where he finds Alice already staring at the sunrise, as it's super early in the morning. There, Alice takes the moment to congratulate Jake, even though he did commit massive mistakes. And the other heroes greet the Archbolts goodbye, as they all go into leave to go about their business. And so, once all the heroes depart and leave, Alice hopes that everything has gone back to the way it should be. And that's why this episode is called The Last Battle. However, it's not yet over. Because in a post-credit scene, Zodian and Zoe are seen trapped in an orb in the middle of a purple void, until a stranger comes to rescue them, to which Zoe recognizes as her mother. Zodian starts filling her in on everything that just happened and enlists her to join his army, and makes a new plan involving her, like he promised. To which the woman agrees. And that brings us to the next episode. Episode 6, Unexpected Returns. The episode begins with Jesse, Elle, and Aaron praying and having a vision of a beautiful scenery as they do. They get up and the vision fades to an underground church. Then the trio start talking about their old friends, thinking they should get back in contact with them. And the reason why they are fully dressed in their suits is because they're about to start training. But then the entire room starts vibrating, and the empty wall breaks to reveal a glowing portal. And out come Helstra beasts, much to the trio's shock. The beasts greet them and explain that a woman from Zoe and Zoe's family brought back the virus, to which Aaron recognizes as witchcraft. And the beasts explain that they're here to end them before they can tell anyone what they just told them, and so they proceed to do that. Aaron attempts to protect Elle and Jesse from the beast's attack, but the beast uses his other arm, but before he could do, he's shot by something, and that something is a laser from Security Max's gun. Him and his security crew arrive just in time to help the trio after finding out the situation on their systems. So the group attack the Helstra beasts, but in the midst of the fight, more beasts keep coming, forcing the heroes to fall back and head to the station outside. But before Aaron could leave though, he notices the woman from the episode 5 post-credit scene come out of the portal too, and beasts coming out. And since he couldn't stay, as his friends really wondered what happened to him, Aaron scans the woman and runs to the station as well. As soon as he takes off, Elle thanks Max for his assistance, but then Aaron cuts their conversation short and tells them about the woman he saw. And the trio and the security members begin to see that she might be responsible for the beast coming back, like the beast said, and decide to rally their old companions to help. Meanwhile, the Archbolts were invited for another stay at Alice's palace, where Jake tells them that, even after all the missions they've been through, he still hasn't got his powers functioning. And he even demonstrates too. And Isabel immediately begins to complain. As she would rather have everyone defend for themselves. Until Amelia and Michael give her a look, and she stops, feeling a bit guilty as well, while Amelia comforts Jake, as his only reason for not functioning with his powers because he's been spending his time with the family the past few months. Then Queen Alice, Professor Thomas, and all the advisors and guards come into the room. And Thomas notices the destroyed wall from Jake's demonstration of functioning his powers. But he doesn't think too much of it though, as they are currently developing plans to renovate the palace, much to Isabel's delight. But in the midst of their talking, another wall breaks and the same portal from the church appears there too. And out comes Zoe and Zoe, much to the hero's dismay. So Jake, Amelia, Michael, and Isabel immediately transform into the Utra Bolts and plan to protect both Jake and Queen Alice from getting harmed. Zodian has Zoe attack the girls and he'll attack the boys, but since the heroes have been taking a few months off, their skills are quite weak, and Vince easily defeat them. Zoe insults them, and Isabel's first one to wake up and scold Zoe for insulting them. So Zoe makes a force field around all the other wheels to stop them from coming to protect the heroes, and she grabs Isabel and prepares to take her life. But then the woman takes Zoe's comm and tells Zoe to spare their lives for now, and proceed to what she told them to do. So Zoe takes a pearl and throws it out the window. It ascends into the sky and opens up a massive portal. She doesn't explain what it's for though, but what she does tell them is that the portal on the wall is free for anyone to visit, and she's only head back through it, just as Jesse comes in to request the heroes' assistance. The heroes are aboard the security station, where they attend to their wounds, and Professor Thomas has a walkie-talkie call to the mountain defenders on the mountain planet. There, the tree and the security tell them everything that just happened, and even show the scan of the woman that Aaron got. Even though Alice is not completely surprised, as the woman, along with some of the other past enemies they met, except Zodian, were not displayed in her book of enemies. Then Emma decides that they should probably meet this woman and gain as much information from her as possible about the portal, and about the Hell's Revives as well. To which Emmy explains that they could do that through the free touring portal back at the palace. So Alice volunteers to be the one to go through it. And when she does, she finds herself in a purple facility. A dark and misty purple facility, with sparkly mist around her. And there she's confronted by the woman, who, if you wonder what her name is Zoria. The two have a seat, and Alice starts asking her quick questions about her knowledge for Alice's name and the hoodie. And Zoria confesses that she's the one responsible for all this, and Alice wants to know why, but Zoria doesn't tell her why, and accuses Alice of trespassing with no reason to. But Alice notices the same pearl that was used to create a portal in the sky, and takes it and demands Zoria to tell her what it is. But Zoria doesn't and attacks Alice instead, and the two engage in a quick fight. But then Zoria eventually gives up and reluctantly lets Alice keep it. But to get her revenge, she removes her hoodie, letting Alice see her identity, and much to Alice's shock and dismay, is someone she's seen before, and knows well too. And while Alice is caught off guard, Zoria blows Alice away with an explosion and traps her. Meanwhile, on the mountain planet, the mountain defenders ponder the situation that they've just received, until Oliver gains the idea of using the remedy source to destroy the portal in the sky. But before they could pass the information on, they're interrupted by an old foe that they thought they would never see again. Catalyst, the Dark Queen, the dweller of the mountain planet. She grieves them and brings in her forces to attack them, including the Dark Dragon, forcing the defenders to attack. And meanwhile, as the heroes are spraying their concerns for the portal and for Queen Alice, the remedy source detects someone behind the portal and tells the heroes about it too. But it is unable to comprehend who it is though. But before the heroes can even go into the portal, Oliver tells them about his theory. And then all of a sudden, a tentacle breaks through one of the walls and snatches the source from Max too. And Elle notices that it's trying to rip it open. So the security act at once to fly outside the wall and go and get it. But then the tentacle was actually owned by the Hellstonian, who comes out of the portal in the sky and begins terrorizing the civilians with Hellstrip beasts. The Hellstrip beasts even attack the heroes in the palace. And Elle goes to join the security to help them get to the source. Meanwhile, the Archbolts are still concerned for Queen Alice and decide to go to the portal, even though Isabel didn't want to, and she was forced to by Amelia. They enter the same facility Alice was in, but are confronted by Zoe and Zoria, and having never seen Zoe before, despite the fact they forgot that they saw her scan, they ask who she is, to which Zoe reveals that she's his wife. They demand information regarding Alice's absence, but Zoe tells them nothing. Instead, she attacks Jake and drains his powers, and Zodian easily punches the Archbolts to stop them from protecting Jake. And Zoria drains Jake's powers into an orb again and yeets Jake away. She gives the orb to Zoe, but Jake immediately attacks. Meanwhile, in the fight on the mountain planet, Catalyst attacks Theo, but Theo easily kicks her and has all the heroes jump down into the canyon where he catches them and uses his sword to spin as fast as a helicopter and draw them out of the mountain planet. Catalyst was fuming that the mountain defenders escape and blames the Dark Dragon for it though. Meanwhile, Max gets his remedy back, but he's been pulled into the tractor beam, so Aaron, choosing to sacrifice his life, leaps through the wall and into the sky, and uses wind technology to push the heroes back down to the palace at the same time he's drawn into the tractor beam himself. The heroes worry that Aaron was completely obliterated in the tractor beam, but he teleports out, alright and safe. As the heroes have a little quick reunion, an anonymous letter appears from the sky, and Jesse advises that they round up everyone to read it. Meanwhile, the Archibald's fights for the Z family are unsuccessful, and so he blows Jake's powers, whilst Jake's dismay, and it forms into the Auto Monster again, who still has the same memory as the one back earlier. This causes Jake to start demanding for his powers back, and Isabel to begin demanding for Alice's location. But the villains decides to deny the demands, and they get away, proclaiming that this is just the beginning of their plot. The security member, Elizabeth, comes to the portal and asks for the status of their mission, to which Archibald explains that they were unsuccessful. Heroes all regroup in a different room in the palace, where they read the letter, telling them to head to a whole new location to find a technologic weapon. And heroes, being dumped into a letter so quickly, don't know why I mean do that, decide to follow along with this task, but decide that they wouldn't do it in the city. And yes, they don't know where to go either, and they will want some more help to do it as well. And so Elle chooses the moment to tell them about the Lunar tribe. And elsewhere, in Africa, a king of the Lunar tribe prepares for the hero's arrival, and so does his queen. They give their advisor orders to prepare for their arrival and alert everyone in the entire nation. Then the king's and queen's children come and ask for information about a so-called old companion, asking who is this old companion. So the king writes her name on a paper and gives it to them, and much to the prince and princess's shock, it's someone that they've known very well before. And meanwhile, in the strange vicinity where the villains dwell, Alice has been detained by electric chains, and all the villains confront her, and expose that they've been plotting this plan for quite some time now, since autumn 2019. And Zoe introduces herself to Alice as a woman Alice knew back then, and exposes that Alice told her everything about the Archibald's den, which was quite dumb of her. She tells that she made the Book of Enemies and disguised herself as an advisor named Odin this whole time, sending information to Zodian and Catalyst and the rest of the crew as much as she could. With all the information, Zodian broke into Alice's castle to steal the gem of abilities. This makes Alice extremely angry, as she trusts Zoe way too soon and she should never have done that. Then the villains get to the alert that the heroes are going to head for a place in Africa and decide to pursue them. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Episodes 7 and 8 are coming soon, as they're currently in post-production right now. So if you don't want to miss those, subscribe so you don't miss them. And if you watched this part and part 1, I hope you're fully informed of the events of the series, so you won't have to go and watch it again. If you want to go watch it again after this recap, go ahead. And I will see you soon. Cheerio.
Right, this is it. Let's make this work.